Hey everyone, it's Justin here from Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for being with us on another episode of the show, whether you're watching or listening, whether you're here in the United States or across the world. We're grateful if you've been with us from the very beginning or if you're joining us for the first time. If you're joining us for the first time or are relatively new to Voices for Voices, in our TV show and podcast, we have over 460 episodes. If you could do us a big favor, give us a thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, and all those things are free, as well as maybe you could reach out to maybe 25 people, contacts in your phone and let them know about our show and how we uh, are bringing light to where dark is. We're talking about easy topics. We're talking about hard topics. Today, here on this episode, it's going to be more towards the tougher topics, but it needs to be done, and so that's what we are going to do. So what we're going to do is, um, as you know, Voices for Voices acquired mythical creatures around the world towards the end of calendar year 2025, which is mythical creatures around the world that is run by uh, founder CEO along with his mom, David Solomon, and his wife Amanda is also included, with Mythical being on the board of directors, as well as doing a lot of editing, a lot of writing, and is so consequential in the positive for helping all of our organization, and all the sub-organizations that come with Voices for Voices. And so this show is um, coming from the board of directors of mythical creatures around the world. I'm a new board member, not new to mythical creatures around the world, but a new board member now with the acquisition. And what we're going to talk about, at least at the outset, is something that individuals watching and listening may already know about. Hopefully, we hope not, because it is just a downright not good thing. And that is basically the abuse of employees. And specifically, what we're going to be diving into is, uh, putting a contract together of, for those who have have a job, have a uh, new job offer. Usually you have, it could be a contract. So maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, maybe it's until further notice. And then usually there's, a dollar amount, per hour, a salary. And those are just a few of the things that are included. What we're going to be discussing as it relates to this is that, but as it relates specifically to a an employer that has not paid their employee uh, at all, and so we call that fraud and abuse, because it puts the employee, or the supposed to be employee, it puts them in a hard place because they are under the impression of, okay, I have this job and I'm getting paid X amount of dollars, whatever that may be, and then have that not come to fruition. And so it's frustrating all around. And unfortunately, it has occurred with one of our board of directors, Amanda Solomon. I know David Solomon, her husband, is is involved from the spouse perspective, uh, but is also in that spot of, why is this occurring, or why has this occurred? Why can't we get this fixed? Why can't we just get back to, the employer and the employee standpoint? And you also uh, may be familiar with a couple episodes we did about the Stephen Reimers fraud and abuse. Uh, and this plays right into that. Unfortunately, this individual is uh, the individual who's not holding up his end of the bargain, his end of the not bargain, his end of the deal. And so unfortunately we have to talk about this again. And I know this has come up from South Africa. I know this has come up from the CIA. It's coming up all over the place, and it's not just South Africa that knows, because what this individual, Stephen Reimers, is also doing is he has and continues to send out these, we call them a newsletter, an email, where he's basically trying to uh, get people to donate. Stephen Reimers is trying to get people to donate uh, off of the back of David Solomon's story of being human trafficked, as many of you already know. And while that may sound like a good thing, when David and Amanda and family aren't getting the funds, they're not getting the money that's coming through, it's catching a lot of people off guard. So this has caught South Africa off guard, the CIA off guard, many other countries off guard. I'm gonna let Dave and Amanda dive in from here, but this is a big topic, and it's high profile. So David and Amanda Solomon, thank you so much for joining us. Feel free just to jump in as you'd like.
And thank you for having us. Amanda will be here in a moment. Honey, are you here? Yeah. Okay. So, it's been it's been a journey, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what I have learned in the last 4 hours of what's going on. Um, Mythical creatures around the world and its creation. So, originally, my mom and I created it in Oregon after I was trafficked. Although it goes back further than that, it just wasn't physically a Facebook page, it was something else back then. And she wanted me to have an outlet so I could talk about these issues and I could heal and have a good time. And I made friends through it. Um, and I learned so much. About 2015, when I met Steve, um, he was friendly, he was nice, I believe he was genuine, and he cared about my mom and me because we were in a situation that no one should ever face. And a month after, he started having this brilliant idea to write an LLC. And that that's kind of what started things, rocking the boat a little bit. I didn't know about the LLC right away. And then I've learned throughout that behind my back, he's used this document to justify loans and money that he said that came to me that didn't and went to a man named Barry Muse or other people. Today, uh, a person, uh, we'll call him Mr. R, because I don't want to give the name, wrote me saying that I owe him 40,000. And I said, "What?" And I didn't know, right? And I learned that I owe him 40,000 because Mr. Reimers has been telling everybody that the money's going to me. Now, I want to be a little detailed in that. He calls it Mythical Creatures Around the World is a partner of HCI and also the David Soldier Writing Project or David Solomon Writing Project. I wasn't aware of any of this until after my mom died about February 2021 when I first became aware. I met a man named Barry, and Steve sat with me in a meeting with him in a high rise little building in Virginia. And Steve saw that I had contacts in Hollywood and other places, and that I had risen to stardom with mythical creatures. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's not possible. Well, it is. My mom was what you call a script doctor. That means that she got not credited for her work, but paid for her work. And I learned from her in creating shows, pilots, movies, um, comic books. I learned from the best of the best. One of the true inspirations is JW. I've really never mentioned, and I'll leave his name until we bring him on the show, but he wrote for DC, Marvel, and Star Wars. I met him in Portland, and he hooked me up with a lot of writers to do some gigs and use Mythical to help with those comics. So I actually saw those proceeds. That was in 2013. That's how the bills were paid. So me and Josh, we worked together and we used Mythical. We told some really compelling stories that you guys probably know. Um, Teen Titans, New 52 is one of those. The Ravengers, Legion Lost is another one. So you guys might want to check that out. Um, the story is about kids going missing, and this organization is kidnapping them. Interesting, isn't it? So that's when Mythical started really picking up business in 2013. I partnered with one of my old mentors, MB, who wrote for Ultimate Spider-Man. And from there, I saw that Mythical had a lot of profit and a lot of IP and a lot of power because my mom said, well, you know, um, people want stories that matter. And mom's chemo doctor was from another country. And so he would tell stories of his folklore. And because of the coma I was in, the doctor that was with me told stories from his country. And then the nurses, and I'll never forget Sarah, the nurse, very sweet lady, older, my mom's age. She was from Armenia. And that's where I learned some Armenian folklore. And it opened up my world that our world is bigger than what we think. From there, um, I started reaching the world through the Philippines, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe. And Mythical Creatures actually ended up in 3 magazines in Davos of the Philippines being one, and Dubai being another. And Mythical was also featured in other magazines that I know, um, because of its outreach to different cultures and countries, and being that voice for people that didn't have any with their culture or their people or their traditions of lore or heritage. And a lot of people have asked the question, well, how does that turn Mythical into an IP? Why is it worth millions now? Well, that is why. So, Mythical runs the right to work with Native American reservations or other countries because Mythical is not only trademarked and licensed to do so, but also has the control of basically giving permission from tribes. I'll give you an example. If you've ever seen the movie Moana, uh, then you do know that Moana had to have permission to use the folklore of Maui and the Hawaiian folklore that was used. And Mythical had a role to play in getting permission from these people because Mythical's role is to help navigate those waters that are so stepped on by other people and not respected. In 2013, an author reached out to me, a best-selling author now, um, and she said, you know, I wanted to quote you because I got my folklore wrong. And I realized that authors were reaching out to me because I was helping them navigate the waters of offending people and offending different countries. I'll give you an example. If you're talking about a pixie, well, you may think Tinkerbell, but you're a writer trying to write these stories that you're claiming are accurate for folklore. So you're telling this folklore for a Percy Jackson like series, allegedly, because of NDAs, and you're saying, well, the pixie is green skin, but in Cornwall, they're blue, and in the next town over, they're green, and in the next town over, they're big, and in the next town over, they're giant. And so that kind of opened my eyes to how big folklore really is. I guess from there, it kind of grew into what it is because Mythical got its audience. And then my mom said, well, you know what? Let's make a world where mythical creatures coexist. And let's use all your writing you've done with DC and Marvel and Star Wars and all these great people, and let's put it to use. So me and my mom would storyboard 24 hours a day, literally no sleep. We would put storyboards on the walls of what we're doing, of where these characters are going, and Every country would be represented, every folklore respected, but all tying back to God. And the one rule that God made with us when we did this is no other gods before me. You can write about culture, you can write about folklore, but never put the gods before me. Respect culture, respect people, respect their religion, but never put their religion before him. That's something I've tried to honor to this day. And, you know, then in 2014, um, my mom and I went to Redding, California. And I learned that there was folklore in Redding. And this church wanted to use Mythical as a ministry. And that is the moment where I saw, my mom saw, that myths are parables in the Bible. And that you can tie the Bible back to every culture, creed, and country. I'll give you an example. The Philippines, the word encantada or encanto, not to be confused with the Disney movie that is actually spelled the same way, but not actually said the same way, means Philippine fairy or supernatural being. But I bet you didn't know that there is a type of encantaco that is spelled Tilkbangi, which is pronounced Tilibelke, which is also, if you don't know, Talibak is a local language in the Philippines. It's not used a lot. It's more used outside of the big cities of the Philippines. And the folklore of the Philippines there's a city, I believe it's Brigham, and it is hidden. It's where elves live and supernatural creatures. But the twist is they say that they are the descendants of fallen angels and they are the Nephilim. But they don't believe in the Bible. And I love that. Here are these fairies, and their origin is they're half angel, half human. And then you go to Europe, and there's a medieval painting of the fairies falling from heaven, and there's a universal belief that fairies are fallen angels in Europe. So, it's a universal belief. And I find that very telling that everything ties to the Bible. And my mom saw that, and we started working with other countries. And then we worked with Egypt, which is a Muslim country. And we don't hate Muslims. We actually love Muslims. We love India. We love North Korea, South Korea, Russia. We love everyone. And one of my stories ended up in a Muslim newspaper. And it goes like this: in the Red Sea near Cairo, old Alexandria, they believe to this day that if you go near the Red Sea, mermaids will take you because they are called the pharaohs. When the Red Sea swallowed up the people in the Bible, it turned them into merfolk. I love that story because here is a culture that doesn't believe in Jesus, yet we have biblical history in a country that has turned their back on him and is referencing him indirectly. And Mythical found other stories that my mom tied to the Bible through that. And it kept going. And my mom, she did the post on the blue men of the Minch, which are said to be mermen who hang out in sea caves and are half human, half fallen angels. We come back to that. Okay. So it really became something to reach out to people that don't know God and don't know where they come from. And then Ukraine has a beautiful story that is not biblically accurate, but it is at the same time. They believe in Adam and Eve, but their story is that their children were dirty, Adam and Eve's. And when God came and said, "Where are your children?" Adam and Eve said, "They're playing." And God said, "You lied." And Adam said, "I'm sorry, they're taking a bath." And God said, "You're lied." And the third time that they lied, God said, "Because you have lied, I will hide from you what you have hidden from me." And he turned their children invisible. And that is where we get the term elves from. Hidden ones is what the Ukrainian and Icelandic word means. So in 2015, this grew and the popularity grew. And about hmm, March or April, um, we we were on the street. There was no hope. An event happened, and God told me to write. And I wrote, and it paid the bills. That story is out there to this day. It's a comic. You can buy it. But I met Steve 2 months after, and it saved our life. And it was very helpful because I was going to die. But then I find out that he saw that Mythical was worth a lot. And over the years, he's been going behind my mom's back when she was alive, God rest her soul, and made all these agreements and put my name on all these papers, all this paperwork that I didn't know about. And that's when we have a problem.
So for reference, you did not, not just you didn't know about them, you did not sign them.
No,
Nobody
I
on
had
your
no,
behalf signed
yeah,
them.
I had no idea that these were going on.
Okay, good.
And Mythical is all plastered all over. If my mom were alive right now, she'd be screaming. There's one newsletter that talks about all these secret projects that me and my mom were working on. And with governors and senators I'll give you one. In Maryland, the New American, and it's about racism in Baltimore. It's very dear to me. Baltimore always has been, especially to my mom. It was a very special place for her. Whenever mom would uh, think that life was bad, she would drive me to Baltimore because people are so poor in Baltimore and there's no hope in Baltimore. And so we would go to Baltimore, we would see a city basically rampaged by gang violence and the ghetto and spray painted and graffiti everywhere you looked. People living in tents, people living in abandoned homes, people breaking glass, people coming up to your car and killing you. And she would show me that every month to keep me humble with what is given to you, give back what you don't need. That was how my mom worked. I worked out a deal with the mayor of Baltimore once to do a series and was in contact with the Maryland film industry. And we were going to do this story about these black kids and how they wash ashore and how Baltimore doesn't like them. And they escaped a bad situation from the Africa oceans. Because in Africa, black girls go missing on the beaches. Now, in Africa, they call them mermaids. They say that mermaids go missing. But I learned since that that could be a code word for what goes on down there. Nevertheless, you can use it because it's culture of Baltimore. It's a part of it. And that's important. So Steve put in one of his newsletters this Baltimore project. And I'm kind of horrified at it because let's see. Um, I actually have it right here. So all these new here we go. All these newsletters, he puts all these projects out, right? And he says that, he owns a percentage of them. On this one sheet of paper alone, there's about 20 projects that my mom was running. So Faith Harbor, Destiny, Halls, Love is the Hunt, Wampus Cat, Seaman, Melonheads, Devil's Driver, The Gatekeepers, I Am Sea Woman, Houston Bat Thing. The list goes on and on. And, you know, he sent these out to people when he wasn't supposed to. It says completion status 89%, you know. And then, like, he's saying total earnings from this, you know, it just boggles the mind that he did this without my knowing. Sales will be promoted by Mythical Creatures around the world, which has 100,000 followers. But yet, I don't even know that this was done, right? We're putting my book out, my TV shows that are in pre production and not even guaranteed, and we're just leaking them. Like, who needs TMZ? Seriously, right? Like, who needs TMZ? You got him. He did it.
And they're not even stuff that's finished.
They're not even finished. Yeah, it's bad.
It's
So
stuff that is currently being worked on
because it got interfered, like a lot of these are Maryland projects if you look at the list, but there's Virginia, Boston, Massachusetts, California, Maine, Oregon. you know,
And there were NDAs.
there's NDAs signed with studios. This just isn't okay. One of them is the Monkey Man from New Jersey, Jersey City, New York. We were in contact with someone that did Tarzan WB. And then we produced Beyond for Freeform off of Folklore from Mythical too. And we're going to do Monkey Man in Hoboken, I believe, or Hoboken, which is on the border of Jersey City and New York. And that's listed on here. We were in pre production during COVID. And, he has this listed as 98%. And he can't be doing that because it's in pre production and there are NDAs. I want to know how the heck he actually found out about it because, like it wasn't his business to know.
Or his business.
Although he claims that it was because he owns everything. There's
But
a Christian.
can I jump in there?
Yeah.
So speaking about the I don't, he claims he owns everything. I want to show to be absolutely crystal clear that because of this, recently, we put out a cease and desist letter for any and every person, entity, organization, law firm that they do not own at all. Number one, Voices for Voices. And here, as we're talking about mythical creatures around the world. So we just want to make it crystal clear, and I'll just scoot it up here so people can see Dave's signature as well. Um, that this is a very real thing. This isn't something that we manufactured. These things have occurred, and to our knowledge, they're still occurring. And which is why we had to do what we did, and we're going to continue. So anybody that reaches out to any of our viewers, our listeners, who is not Justin Allen Hayes and or David Solomon, Amanda Solomon, uh, make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, making sure that you're dealing with the right people because we would really, um, we don't want to see anybody getting mixed up with what Steve has and is doing. And so this ties in with Steve claiming he, on one occasion and another occasion, and then it just has become just a common theme for him to say he owns everything. So he owns Mythical, he owns Voices for Voices. Those are blatant lies, 100% lies. I'm the clear owner, operator of Voices for Voices. David and Amanda and the us on the board, David and Amanda specifically, are the main owners of mythical creatures around the world. So while we have them as an asset for this particular reason, and it's actually a good thing we did do this when we did it because timing couldn't have been, unfortunately, better for us. And so we just want to make sure that anybody that's working with somebody who says they're with Voices for Voices, you need to check with me uh, before doing anything, because what was discussed here at the outset and what we're getting into is there's individuals who have given a significant amount of money to this man, Stephen Reimers, on behalf which isn't the behalf because David didn't even know and he didn't sign anything, and Amanda didn't sign any of these newsletters or these LLCs. And Steve doesn't own. He claims he does. He claims, well, he just he gets he just well just assumes that he would be privy to part of that, but he isn't. He's not privy to any shares, any slices, any anything for Voices for Voices, anything under Voices for Voices, especially here as we're talking with David and Amanda about mythical creatures around the world. So again, we're just trying to be crystal clear here. We're not trying to be invasive, but we want to be crystal clear because these are livelihoods that we're talking about. These aren't just hobbies that somebody, is doing. These are livelihoods. And so when somebody or some person or whatever Steve wants to say he is on that day, HCI, whatever, um, we want to be crystal clear that Stephen Reimers has zero to do with Voices for Voices and zero to do with mythical creatures around the world. Sorry for jumping in, but thought it'd be a good thing to do when we're on that topic.
And yeah, I'm reading over these too because I'm looking at more. Towson, Maryland, uh, Baltimore, all these different cities are listed. So there's a lot here.
Yeah. Do we want to get over to Amanda?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm gonna let Amanda, who sits on the board for Mythical, but my main concern with this was all these projects are being talked about, and I had no idea. And you know, um, now I do, and
because of me, which is where my story comes in.
she'll tell her side of this, but like earnings for David Soldier and mythical creatures around the world, like who does this? So I'll let her take it from here for a little bit, and then we'll come back.
Okay. I should ask, how much time do we have? Do we need to do my story as part two or?
Um, it's your call. I mean, we're coming up on an hour, so we can just do a second part, and then just maybe speed it up just a tad.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do that. So, we're gonna come for our viewers and listeners. We're gonna come back. So the following episode of this is gonna be what we're gonna consider, or we're gonna say is part two. Uh, so please tune in. Please like, follow, subscribe, share. Again, please share with contacts in your phone if you're able to about Voices for Voices and mythical creatures around the world. Um, and we just are so grateful to have you with us. And we will see you on the next episode of the show, which will be what we're going to call part two. And let's celebrate all the voices in the world, and let's be a voice for ourselves and others that we may know that aren't able to share their voice. So we'll see you on the next show. Bye bye for now.